This is the final lie of false spiritual teachers, because we're taking them all down. The great spiritual illusion, how romanticizing mysticism traps you. What if I told you the person you think set you free is actually the one keeping you trapped? The guru who gave you the key actually built the cage. The healer who helped you release actually redirected your chains. The guide who showed you the way made sure you never truly felt it. Because that's how false gatekeepers operate. They let you wake up, but never fully, because once you're truly free, you no longer need them. And that's the one thing they can't allow. These gatekeepers don't force you through the door, but that's the trick. They don't need to. All they have to do is make sure you never forget who opened it for you. Romanticizing mysticism is just a repackaged control mechanism. People are out here stacking DMT trips, astral downloads, and esoteric rituals, but still can't handle a toddler having a meltdown. They're doing all these enlightenment fast tracks, but still get triggered by social media comments. They think they've removed the ego while proudly stacking experiences that make them more spiritual. If your spirituality requires a highlight reel, is it really growth or just another identity? If you need people to see your journey to believe it was real, maybe it wasn't, because people should be able to hear and feel the weight of your presence, your words, and your experience. Can your spirit be authentically felt? People out here be romanticizing their experiences, making it feel special by assigning roles to people who help them, but that's exactly what keeps people trapped. Thanking people for helping you reach the next levels is fine. Gratitude is wonderful. We should all live in gratitude, but you can only lead a willing mind to the water. You can't make it drink. Yes, horses aren't the only ones that drink water, okay? The truth, real peace is permanent. It doesn't come from a trip, a ceremony, or a ritual. It comes from learning to maintain it under every condition. And until faced with real-world pressure tests, one won't know how weak they are. In most cases, people who haven't truly been tested by kids, marriage, extreme responsibility, managing tons of people, etc., they don't even realize how much peace they haven't even achieved yet. And don't get it twisted, those things aren't required to achieve peace, because every journey is different. It's just that many people stop when they get comfortable. They stop evolving and pretend they have it all figured out and try to convince others they are more peaceful or have claim to being more spiritually knowledgeable. They think their journey is complete or that they are the mentor role, when life hasn't even thrown them the hardest test at them yet. That's the biggest illusion, thinking you're whole when you haven't even seen the full battlefield yet. The illusion of the gatekeeper. Some people position themselves as gatekeepers, not because they want you to be free, but because they want to control how far you go. They present the problem, they offer the solution. They make sure you never quite reach the next level. They keep you at 90% awareness, not asleep, but just awake enough to feel grateful to them. Why? Because a truly free mind doesn't need a master, and their entire identity depends on being needed. The gatekeeper never tells you the door was never locked, because without the illusion, they have no purpose. Here's how gatekeepers control the narrative. They create dependency. Instead of empowering you to trust your own discernment, they teach you the correct way to think. They say they're just helping, but every lesson still leads back to them. They sell freedom while keeping you tethered. They let you feel like you're growing, but always frame themselves as necessary for the next level. You're always one step away from full enlightenment, but somehow they're the only ones who have the missing piece. They disguise control as guidance. They don't tell you what to do. They let you decide. But they use loaded language to make any path outside of them seem like a mistake. They frame doubt as your ego is resisting the truth. They frame independence as spiritual arrogance. They keep you second-guessing yourself. They use mysticism and aesthetics as credibility. The beads, the robes, the ancient-sounding phrases, it's all part of the character. Spirituality isn't something they live, it's something they perform. And because people are drawn to mystic aesthetics, they mistake the packaging for wisdom. The more mystical they appear, the more you should question why they need the costume. The spiritual Stockholm Syndrome. This is where false gatekeepers thrive. They manipulate gratitude into loyalty. They make you feel lucky to have found them. And even when you outgrow them, they make sure you still thank them for the journey. That's part of the final trap. You think you left, but their voice is still in your head because they didn't just guide you, they conditioned you. They set the rules for what's real spirituality. They shaped your inner voice to still seek their approval. They made sure you couldn't fully detach without guilt. And this is why so many people defend their old teachers, even after realizing they weren't being manipulated. It's not their fault, it's Stockholm Syndrome. The hand that locked the cage also fed them. So here's the business model of false gatekeepers. They say grifters want to be grifted. Spiritual gatekeepers don't go after the strong, they go after the seekers in general. The younger, the more naive, the more willing to listen, those are prime targets for fake wisdom. Spirituality has its own version of pyramid schemes. Instead of selling a money-making system, they sell awakening. It's a multi-level process that conveniently requires ongoing payments. If you've ever fallen for this, don't be embarrassed. That just means that you're seeking. The problem isn't that you looked, it's that they made sure you kept looking in the wrong direction. Here's the thing that gatekeepers know, and perhaps it could help you identify one in your life right now, should this be part of your current life path. If someone truly set you free, you wouldn't be looking back to thank them, at least not in perpetuity, with them as your only resource. You wouldn't be orbiting their lessons. You wouldn't be chasing their next insight. You wouldn't be searching for the next key they claim to hold. You'd already know you're no longer missing anything. And if there ever was something else to find, it wouldn't come from them. It would reveal itself through living life, when, where, and how it was always meant to. And if you had a real teacher or guide, you'll know exactly when the lesson hits you in the face and how to integrate it immediately. And that's what gatekeepers never really want you to realize, because once you do, they become irrelevant. This is how false empowerment keeps the illusion alive. They validate the experience that they helped create because they need their role to matter. They reinforce the illusion of levels because it justifies their authority. They create a business model out of enlightenment because your independence is their biggest threat. Just for the sake of it, I want to point out what a real teacher, mentor, or guide looks like. Real teacher's goal isn't to be remembered, it's to become completely unnecessary. A real teacher doesn't make you return, they make sure you don't have to. A real guide doesn't trap you in cycles, they equip you to break them. If someone's coming to mind and you feel tricked, don't be ashamed. That means you were open. The real enemy isn't the one who got fooled. It's the one who profits from the people looking for answers. So remember, the truth doesn't expire. But if someone keeps selling you the same lessons over and over, maybe it's time to ask, are they teaching you or trapping you? A real teacher doesn't have to sell you more lessons. They send you off knowing you already have everything that you need. Gatekeepers are just the grifters of the spiritual world. Their business model depends on you believing there's another level they can sell you. Because if a gate was never really there, then neither were they. How to break free from false gatekeepers. Here's the truth they don't want you to realize. There was never a locked gate, there was never a keeper, and there was never a final threshold to cross. They built the idea of the gate so they could pretend to hold the key. To break free, you have to erase the illusion of the gate itself. Detach from the story. If someone awakened you, great. Challenge the missing piece narrative. If someone makes you feel like you need them to reach the next level, run. That's not empowerment, that's control. Number 3, reject performative mysticism. Spiritual wisdom is not about beads, robes, aesthetics, or obscure words. The ones who act the most spiritual are usually the least free. Number 4, kill the idea of the guru. If someone presents themselves as an ultimate teacher, they are already lying. Real guides don't lead you to themselves. They lead you back to you. So, if someone needs you to stay a student, they were never really a teacher. Spirituality isn't about climbing a hierarchy. It's about realizing there never was one. If enlightenment required a middleman, was it ever enlightenment? If the truth had a gatekeeper, was it ever really the truth? If someone claims to hold the key, ask yourself, who benefits from you believing that there was ever a locked door? True peace has no gatekeepers. The gate was never really there, and if it was always unlocked.